Welcome to one of the most interesting and unique furnaces in Miner's Haven. And also why it's one of the worst items and you should never craft it ever. Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. It's going to be on the Devourer of Nightmares. Yeah, I know I might be a little like 2 months late or something, but I only got this somewhat recently. And that was because I knew it wasn't great. But I figured I might as well get it just to have it. So first of all, let's look at the requirements to get this thing. This was the enchantment I added. This was the enchantment added in the debut update of Foxy's, like, Reign of Miner's Haven, I suppose. So let's go ahead and look at the crafting requirements to make this pile of greatness. Pile of eyes. 5 thingamajigs, simple enough. 2 eternal fractures, not terrible. Brimstone spires might be difficult. Same with the Dreamer's Terror. Dreamer's Terror, have fun with that. Dreamer's Nightmare, that one, have fun with that for a minute at least. And the Oblivion Weaver, it depends. Oblivion Weaver might not be too hard to get, but I've had a moment where it took me like 2,000 reborns to get it. Okay, so the Devourer of Nightmares has a 100 sextillion times upgrader for ores that haven't been upgraded, and a 500,000 times upgrader or process for ores that have been upgraded. You might say that's like the best furnace in the game, and also it looks great, which admittedly it does. Look at that mouth. But the problem with it is, it doesn't take it when you want it to, it takes it when it wants it to. Which, needless to say, can't be very useful in almost all situations. Oh. So a gargantuan ore was 1 QDD from this thing. Now, admittedly, this is a good concept for a furnace. I'm not gonna say it doesn't have that, because there is no furnace that acts like this one. Unfortunately, though, that uniqueness comes at a cost of actually being worth using. I'm gonna wait for another ore. But yeah, so I will give an example of why this thing's not that great. What amount of iron ore? 200 sextillion should be it. Yep. So yeah, I mean, by default the multiplier this thing gives is the best in the game, but it's also like impossible to use. I mean, I guess I'll give off an example of how you could use it. So now I'm going to give an example of how you would use this in like an average setup. If you're like life 5000 for example, but I don't know if you'll have this at life 5000. There's a good chance you could. Yeah, let me just take some default Newtonian mines for example. Throw it into a Big Bertha. Take like a quantum polisher for example, a true overlord device. And then a Tesla. Alright, here's a random garbage line setup, for example, with just a little bit of default stuff. And I am going to put the enchantment in here. And just let it chill there for a minute. Now, I do not know how much these ores are worth, but I couldn't suspect it being much. I could do this. QNs. Sounds about right. And at some point, it'll take a random ore. It's been quite a while. It hasn't taken an ore. Oh. Oh, did you see that? It didn't even take one from the very end here. Like, for example, so anything like this, it won't work. So, basically, if you don't have a choice of what ore it takes either, and it'll just take a random one at a random time. So, basically, what I would suggest is giving this, like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 times the multiplier at least. So like 500 million or billion times, because this will never be used. Pretty much never for how it is currently functioning. And just another example, and this is one of the worst parts, if you're high life, for example, and you happen to have this item in your setup, good luck getting it to be timed correctly with the Devourer of Nightmares. In other words, you cannot use void drives with it. So enjoy that. That, and there's a problem. This thing is so much better. This thing is so close to the Devourer of Nightmares multiplier anyway, when it's fully charged, that is, that it's like, why would you even go through the hassle? This thing is so low, like, it's so underpowered for how it acts. Like, would I rather use, for this entire setup, the Devourer of Nightmares, or, for example, a basic research center? I think I'm going to take the basic research center, because at least I know for sure I'm going to get money. I read the wiki, and found out I did it bad, so I'm going to attempt this again. So I'm just going to run this through my normal setup real quick. I am going to take out the Book of Knowledge, and put a basic research center here. And it's just gonna chill there. So we'll compare the two furnaces. And I will put the enchanted furnace just right there. Just let it chill. With its 7 eyes. Now there's gonna be a couple things you see. In this example I'm about to show you, you're gonna see how terrible it is, and its one and only decent attribute. And this is only for very specific cases. In this case, I managed to be in that very specific case. Now, so far, it's done absolutely nothing. And that's only sometimes it might be good for the case. Now, so far, the ores are just starting to go through the setup, out of the stars. And the furnace has currently done nothing. I think it's about to take its first ore. Ores are going full speed ahead, about to hit the Tesla for the first time. This thing is still just motionless, just chilling. And it should have taken an ore right there, but it didn't. Here, I'll get rid of the basic research center and see if it did anything. Now, just so you know, I placed that before I started putting ores down. So it should be working. And the furnace has still not done anything, so I'm just going to place down my basic research center. Oh, well, it acted like it was going to, but it still didn't do anything, so that's interesting. So yeah, that's how great the new enchanted furnace is. The basic research center beats it in very, very most cases. So who is this enchanted furnace really for? The only thing I can think of is AFK setups, where you're just gone and this thing just does its own thing and you hope you get money off of it eventually. And what I was trying to see is if it could, like, take ores while I was just, like, you know, just gone. And I managed to, like, get to, like a furnace, for example. Or, like, I forget to, like, switch out, like, the final upgrader and the teleporter, for example. This thing could possibly, like, grab a random ore that's worth enough for me to reborn anyway. That was the one example I was gonna give it, that it could be useful, but it didn't even do that because it just didn't take any ores, even when it was making noises. I don't know if it's a range thing or something, but it did work in the first few examples I gave it. I would not use this thing. It's too, like, unstable at the moment, and its multiplier is trash for how inconsistent it is with the ores, and just how it works in general. But if you have all the items in the world and you just want to craft it just because, go ahead. I mean, I did it. It looks weird. If you need shrines, this is like a really good centerpiece, to be honest. Like, let's go ahead and make one real quick. Oh, there we go. Those hydras look really nice. Put Baraz's car right there. That looks nice. Take some fire mines because fire. Take some fire trees because fire again. And a grand gift tree. Beautiful. So yeah, there's my 2-second shrine, I must say. It's a good centerpiece. I wonder if this thing would work with Void Cube. You know, because if I have these chilling here, I wonder if it can still take ores. Because if so, that's something. Oh. Alright. Well, fair enough. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video of the Devourer of Nightmares, and yeah, this furnace beats it. The Undertaker beats this furnace. You can use the Undertaker 9 times out of 10 better than you can use this. So that is incredible. So thank you all for watching, and let your iron mine shine. And and that. I just realized my face and this thing, we look like brothers. It's great.